Man,
Hey.
awesome to be here today.
Back again.
Yes.
Back again.
again.
They didn't turn off the lights. It's great.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of The Rules
to Engagement.
I am one of your hosts. My name is Shivy Brooks, and I'm the first active teacher to be elected to the Atlanta Public School Board in its 150-year history.
Ooh, that's
Come
a
on.
mouthful.
Come on.
You had a lot of breath for that one.
You know.
My name is Alexi Pendleton, also known as the dancer teacher. Hey-oh, my beauties.
I am CJ Reynolds, just known as Mr. Reynolds, out of West Philadelphia, now teaching in New Mexico.
I am Principal Mo, your neighborhood-friendly principal. Hi, y'all.
I need a tagline. I gotta work on that.
Yeah,
I need
I'm pretty sure you can come up with in like
something
the next 5
snappy.
seconds.
But
All right.
sometimes if you're him, you don't have to explain it. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, there you go. See,
Hear
look.
that, students? I hope everyone caught that real quick. Nice.
What you got, Mo?
All right, so we know that especially since the hit of pandemic, there's been a teacher shortage, a lot of teacher burnout. And so what we want to talk about today is like what's contributing to that, how can we combat it, and what can we do to make teaching fun again and make teaching a profession and a career that somebody wants to join or wants to pursue.
Man.
Like, why are you
That's
here?
loaded.
Like, what keeps you? What keeps you going?
Yeah, I think, right, so like, it's a
Yeah.
couple conversations, right? So like, I think first is, for those of us who choose to stay in the field,
Yeah.
why do we keep taking it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on, right? And I think often the perception is that we are taking something. For me personally, I stay because there's just so much value beyond the compensation that I receive through being a teacher that in any other, and I was a non-traditional teacher, right? So I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I didn't start fresh out of college being a teacher. I didn't start teaching until I think I was 30, was my first year teaching.
Okay.
So I had done so many other things and knowing what it felt like to put 8 hours work into something every day and feel like I didn't actually do something, like I didn't actually make an impact that matters.
Yep.
And school gave that to me. I think the conundrum is always balancing, okay, yes, I feel full, but my bank account does not too.
It needs to be the money,
Yeah.
ching ching.
The money's not residing here, right? And so that's been the tough part. I think the thing that's kept me has been that my side hustles made teaching the side hustle, right? Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Bars.
No, it's being able to entrepreneurialize as a teacher and make it so that I didn't have to think about the teacher compensation. But if I was solely dependent on teacher compensation, I would not be able to continue doing it.
And I think that's a blessing that not everyone gets to live out of too,
Facts.
right? Like
Facts.
if I was a single parent and then I gotta try and side hustle that stuff, like that's difficult, and it's not everyone's bag either, right?
Correct.
So it's when we're talking about keeping folks in the classroom or how do we help people to want to come to the classroom,
Yeah.
I think you start with treating teachers like they're actual professionals, right? And not micromanaging and being on top of them about every silly thing, but letting them try, as my teenagers would say, like trying to let them cook, right? Let them get out there, right? I'm 48, and I just said that on
Yeah,
television.
go ahead.
I just said, anyway,
That's your tagline.
right?
Yeah.
Let me cook.
DJ, let them cook.
But right, if we think about that, it's really letting teachers try stuff, and if it fails,
That's right.
let it produce a result,
Yeah.
not just be a determining factor of like, that's why I shouldn't have done it. So, yeah.
I would say being in early elementary is a lot, but that is the foundation and the root of like humans in general. And I think that it fills me up. It fills me up to have joy in this space and to be able to reimagine what school looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and really changing a traditional sense of what school is to make it an experience and not just a prison cell. So
How does your
yes.
experience look different though than what you came up in?
It's
So paint that picture for folks.
So we start the vibe, we start the day. We got
vibe.
music going, okay? We come in, the kids, we're dancing, they're eating breakfast, we're communicating, we're collaborating. A lot of the day incorporates movement and music, and I have a DJ of the day. So the DJ is leading. I have student leadership where it's building confidence, where kids don't just see adults in the forefront, but they see themselves. So that if kids can be leaders, then they can be more engaged to want to come to school, to feel the autonomy to be in the classroom and in the space, so that our kids can really take charge of their learning. And when they're engaged and when they're feeling the love of learning, then they'll want to be in school.
We're back at church.
Let her cook. Let her
Let's talk about it.
Let her cook.
But I think we have to pause here, because I think for our viewers, they may not understand like why teacher retention is important. It's more than just trying to find a sub for a class, right?
Talk about it from an administrative perspective.
From an administrative perspective,
Yeah.
like, one of the main things that contributes to student achievement in schools is having teachers there year after year.
That's right. That's right.
Making sure they stick around, making sure, because it's the relationship piece, because that kid is going to go to 4th grade and they're going to go look for their 3rd grade teacher. And then when they go to 5th grade, they're going to go look for their 3rd grade teacher. That's a part of it. But the huge part of it is that when we have teachers who stay, we have kids who are excited to see the people that they built relationships with, and they're connected to school. Therefore, coming to school, and therefore reducing that chronic absenteeism piece. I mean, I don't know if there's any research out there, but if we kind of look at the correlation between teacher retention and teachers leaving the profession, and I kind of look at it from a lens of, well, what does our chronic absenteeism look like, and seeing if maybe there's some correlation there. I'm pretty sure that there is. Because when kids come back to schools, like, for example, I'm at a pre-K through 8 school, so I have kids in high school. They're coming back and they're looking for the people that they've been with for years, and they're looking to connect with those people. Or even still, middle schoolers going to go connect with some of their elementary teachers. They're looking back to connect with those individuals. So it's about connection. It's about continuity for schools, because you don't have to keep starting over and over and over again. And so that's why teacher retention is important. And so I'm going to throw it back to you guys. For teacher retention, what is it that administrators can do to improve retention in their building?
If I'm going to say the quiet part out loud, though,
do it.
Honestly, I don't think we have a teacher labor shortage. We have a teacher compensation shortage.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
And let me give you the evidence. In the district where I serve, right, Atlanta Public Schools, we did an 11% increase for our teachers going into the school year. Matter of fact, our teacher salary went viral all over the place, right? So our starting base salary is $63,000 for a teacher. Our average teacher is making about $95,000 in Atlanta, in the South, in Georgia, right? So what did it look like? We started this school year with 0 vacancies. Every single school every classroom had a certified teacher in the classroom in front of a child, right? In other districts surrounding in the metro Atlanta area, they did not make those aggressive moves on compensation. And we had some districts with 100 vacancies, 244 vacancies, so on and so forth. I'm not going to name them, but, right? And I may know some more intimately than others. But that is a result of when your teacher compensation is not giving our teachers what they need to make enough to, A, live where they teach. Right? Like, can you even afford to live in the neighborhood you serve in? Right? And moreover, giving them enough that they could live a dignified life. We got to start looking at these district budgets and saying to ourselves, like, what are we prioritizing, right? Are we prioritizing teachers enough to make sure that we're keeping quality people there? Or are we making this something that someone just kind of passes through, fresh out of college until they go find something else better?
And that's like the value part of it. We just want to, just like the kids want to feel valued, the teachers want to feel valued, the admin wants to feel valued, and that's a trickle down from the top. My concern is, how will things change with, the DOE possibly closing and the funding? What will that look like for educators? How do we stand together in the forefront of all of the stuff that's going on? And how do we keep the momentum so that we can fight for each other?
I have another question, because this is something that's very intriguing to me. So a lot of the things that you stated are things that are a lot of times out of building level administrators' control.
That's right.
I often describe my position, as well as other school level administrative positions, as the middleman. Right? We're in the middle, we're getting the stuff from the top, and then we're trying to make sure that it works for our buildings, or not, depending on how you lead. And then so on and so forth, but then also taking it back up. So then thinking on a micro lens in terms
can
of
y'all
what can we actually do? Within our school. Something that you think is within our control.
Yeah, compensation aside,
Yeah.
I definitely got to admit that like my admin being like very supportive of like my ambitions as a teacher, right? Trusting, right? Giving me autonomy, giving me an abundance of grace. Those are the things that make me go, man, I can't leave. Right? Like, I don't have enough reason to leave. I find that most of the time, teachers aren't quitting schools, they're quitting admin.
Hello? Ooh.
Yes,
Clock
that's
it.
facts.
You got to clock that.
Yeah.
But that's
Clock that, too.
that is community at its core. And you said that also, this idea of like, we need to be doing this together, right? When it is, your admin is, there's this, John Maxwell has this idea of like the law of the lid, which is only like your educators can only be as good as you are. So if you haven't learned to be a leader, so speaking to the admin piece, like if you have tapped out, right? If you're not growing anymore, then your educators do not have the ability to grow as well. But when we can build that community of folks coming together around students, so I think a lot of it is, you know, we say all the time, education is only ever about students. The end. It's not about testing. It's not about anything else. And when we can come together around children, we can't lose. And then we're creating a culture where it's like, my great ideas aren't about me being teacher of the year, not about me being cool. It's not about me sticking out. It's like, it's about helping kids to grow into their capacity of who does God have for them to be. That's what we're looking at. I think that culture shift changes everything and the rest takes care of itself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Burnout, unrealistic expectations sounds like a sequel to a horror movie teachers did not sign up for. But you know what's even scarier? Outdated policies that somehow still exist. So now we have, why is this still a thing? CJ,
Yes. All right.
you got it.
If you look at education, right? So in my bit of research on this, if you look at education, there are, over the last 50 to 100 years, there are still things in place that were like, I'm not even sure this is a good idea. Like when we kick this whole thing off, right? But it's like they're still there. So, but even currently, let me ask you about this, right? So Shiv, I'm gonna shoot it to you. Cell phones in the classroom are a thing right now.
Oh, we're gonna go there.
How is this
It's not like cell phones just came out. Like the iPhone wasn't just invented yesterday, right? This has been out for a minute, right? How is this still a thing where we're having arguments around cell phones? So what's the hot take?
What's the hot take?
on this?
My hot take is we can't address removing cell phones from classrooms because we haven't addressed getting guns out of schools.
What? Break that down.
Listen, you got to clock that, T.
So
Someone heard it, but they didn't.
they
listened to you, but they
They
didn't hear
gonna
what you
get
were
this
saying.
tea. They gonna get this tea. Nah. So the thing is, you know, and I hear this all the time because personally, I believe that our learning spaces are not treated as sacred anymore, right? Meaning they can throw up as many testing days as they want to. They can throw up all these assemblies if they want to. They can throw up all these field trips and all these things that disrupt the learning, right? And then on top of that, we got to compete with every child has a cell phone. Right? And so there are studies saying that kids are spending at least 20% of their school day on their phone. So you're talking about a quarter of the school day being missed by a child every day they come to school. It's hard to get engagement out of kids that way. It's hard for them to retain information. Multitasking is a myth and a lie, right? So there's no way to really to do both. So, you know, for me, I think we're at a place where we got to have a real honest conversation about like protecting the sacredity of our learning spaces. But then also we got to have a bigger conversation about what are we doing to make sure that, God forbid, there's an emergency in schools, that you're answering that problem, right? And so like in my district, for example, we have something called Strategic. It's like a little badge with a clicker on it, right? And if I get to click in this badge, it goes directly to the police, to the fire department, the EMS, right? It's
You as
faster.
a teacher have that, or
Every single
Like
teacher,
teacher life
every
alert.
single administrator, it's like a little panic button, basically,
teacher
right?
life alert?
Basically.
See, you know that? You know
Literally.
that?
You know what that is, CJ?
15.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I need it right now.
So when if parents in the community were aware, like, hey, we got this device that can get in touch with, the folks who we need to be getting in touch with faster than calling and telling them what's going on and where to go under duress, right? I think that quells some of those things.
Yeah.
But it gets to a deeper issue that we haven't dealt with the lack of safety in our schools. And
teachers deal way more with cell phones than administrators do. We end up dealing with it on the back end. But to add to that, it's so interesting when kids want their cell phones or when parents want them to have cell phones, the first reason they cite is safety.
That's right.
That's the first, well, I need to be able to get in contact with my kid. I need to be able to call my mom if something bad happens. I'm like, what is your mom gonna do? Put on a cape and like go into school? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
probably make it harder.
Exactly.
Yo, but that's for real.
But that's the first reason that they cite. The very first reason. Any student or any parent, that's the first reason they say, we can't ban cell phones in schools because of safety.
But that's a real conversation that we're not having, right? So like with my young men that I worked with in West Philly, if there was a shooting out and around the school, folks are like, no, I need to tell my mom. So what, your mom can run up here in the midst of all the madness that's happening outside?
Right.
Like, that's not even a smart move.
Right.
Let's have a conversation about, let's reassure you, our young people, that we have a plan, that plan is in place, that we're looking out for your safety, and you are, number one. That, I think, it's those real world conversations that we're having with our students that do that.
Well, I think the realities are undeniable. In Georgia, there's a bill right now to ban cell phones, right?
Yes.
But the bill only applies K through 8.
Really?
And yes, and mind you, it's one side of the aisle is pushing for this bill, but I think it's universally supported.
Yeah.
But that gap of why aren't you addressing 9 through 12? Why aren't you addressing high school?
Because that's where all the pushback is, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But not
But you
just
gotta
that,
do the
but
hard
it's the
parts.
pushback on
Yeah.
the basis of what we're talking about. And so I think there's a lack of integrity over what issue are we actually not addressing that makes it so that we can address this one.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a mic drop right there. That was,
All right.
There we go. We don't need to.
I'm just saying. I had many other questions I was going to ask there, but I feel like we just.
But we went
hit
there.
that one.
Yeah, we did. We took it there.
With that one, so there was a lot more there to talk about, but according to my cell phone, we're going to jump into our next bit here. And speaking of cell phones, if y'all aren't familiar with Knowlej is a platform that is literally trying to combat chronic absenteeism. And part of what Knowlej does is we're throwing the first ever Knowlej Con, and that is going to be a whole vibe. Roll the promo.
Knowlej Knowlej. This October, the movement comes to life. For the first time ever, experience the rules to engagement, host live and in person. Re-engage, restore, reward. 3 days of power, purpose, and people-first education. This is the moment. Don't miss it. Join us at KnowledgeCon LA.
We've talked about how education has changed, but now let's talk about how one teacher has turned his classroom struggles into comedic gold. Eddie B is a former teacher turned comedian, and he's widely recognized for his viral Teachers Only comedy series. He hilariously captures the realities of teaching, resonating with educators across the country. Through his stand-up, performances, and online content, y'all, give it up for the man, the myth, and the legend, Eddie B.
Thank you. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
How are you?
How are you?
My brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
All right, have a seat. Have a seat.
Have a seat.
You ready to start already?
You got a lot
Lord.
to say?
Well,
This sneaker game is matching across
Yes.
the board. Not everyone can see
Okay.
us, but it's
We
like,
really did. Yeah.
We vibed out.
Yep. Got a kid to play
I'm
that thing.
Chose otherwise. Yeah. What's
So,
up?
man, Eddie, thank you so much for agreeing to join us today, man. Like, you are doing some very, very enormous things.
Appreciate
and you
you.
took the time to come hang out
Yes.
with little
Thank you so
us,
much.
man. So
Yeah, I
thank
took
you for
the
that. Y'all
time.
make some noise for
Thank you.
Eddie. So, no.
all right.
Thank y'all, man.
So we got a couple questions for you, Eddie, and of course they had the administrator asking you all these questions.
Wow.
so if there's any PTSD in this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I apologize in advance.
I've,
All right, so first question, something really lighthearted. What made you trade your classroom for comedy?
That's a good question. I really didn't. It was just my time. It was just time for me to go. I tell people all the time, educators, this when it's your time to go, you know, it won't be a second too late or a second too soon. And what I did was I just stayed the course. I had retired and to come back to teaching, and I got retired. I was reminded why I left in the first place. And my retirement, the reason why I had to come back, because money got low. Ain't nobody tell me that your little annuities, you take it out too fast, they gon', yeah. 2 months. That's how long your retirement gonna last, 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had to come back, and I was kind of discouraged by it a little bit, but everything happened when I did come back. So I also committed to finishing with my kids too. What happened with me with the comedy, that happened in the fall.
Okay.
And so I had a decision to make, man. Will I keep going to big shows, selling out arenas on the weekends, 2,000-3,000 educators and people, you know, family and friends or whatever, and come back and submit a lesson plan and all that hard, crazy stuff that the teacher got to go through. You know what I'm saying? But the thing was, I committed to finishing with my kids though, and so I finished with my kids, and I think that the longevity I've had success-wise, you can, whatever you say, successful or whatever, you know, I'm just a spokesman for the people who don't got no voice, right? The longevity in that part, I think it can be attributed to me finishing, you know, what I started, and that'll help you on the next level, your next goal in life. I think it has a lot to do with how you finish, you know, what you had going already. So, yeah.
We were having that conversation about, like, as a teacher, when you go viral, how it can change stuff, right?
Yeah.
So for you, A, what was it like? You got that first post that goes viral. What's the energy from that? And then B, at what point did you go, oh no, this is different. Like, we can do something more with this.
Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie, I know everybody don't believe in, you know, God or whatever, but I asked God for some ideas, because remember, I retired and came back. I was out of them. I had no more ideas. I said, God, just bless me with an idea. One day I walked in class, and I had the idea, just said, hey, you've been making videos. Why don't you make a video about this? You've been tired of this. That's what the voice said, my voice. Talking about teaching. I've been tired of teaching. That's why I retired in the first place. And came back, and I said, okay. So before my kids got in the classroom, I shot a quick little video, man. They got in my classroom. Don't do this. I gave them some busy work, and I stood by the door and locked it, you know, in case admin come in there trying to observe you.
Mo coming with her keys.
Yeah. And you hear the keys. Or the old raggedy cart.
The warning
they bring
sign.
around.
Yeah.
So I shot the video. I edited it while they was doing some busy work. Lunchtime, I put it out. Had my few little 5,000-6,000 views I usually get. Went home, woke up the next morning, it was like 100,000, right? I thought something was wrong with my laptop. So I closed it. No, that's a real spill. I closed it, opened it back up. It was at 100 and something thousand, right? So I'm like, oh. And you know, this was back when Instagram only let you do like 60-second videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, shoot, man, if they like this here, I got 15 years of this here. I didn't even exhaust that whole topic. And so, the rest is history. By the end of that week, that video was at 1 million some views, and I'm like, whoa, well, let's go. Let's go. I thought a celebrity shared my video. That's what I thought. When I see that my laptop wasn't broke, I said maybe a celebrity with a big following grabbed my video and just shared it.
Yeah.
Man, I went through there, I didn't see not one check on not one of the comments. So what it was a big domino effect of teachers around the world. I didn't know that they had teachers in Bermuda. I thought that
Well,
was
how the kids learning in Bermuda?
I don't know. I thought
They
that was
got schools everywhere.
Yeah, right.
But you found that
They
out.
still going through the.
okay.
When we was growing up, we thought Bermuda was where ships went to go sink. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got education in Bermuda. So my thing was is when you the second part of your question. That's how I knew it was different when I started getting hit up by educators in other countries, and they go through the same thing that we go through here stateside.
And how do you this new journey that you're starting out and you're finding yourself, and now I'm wondering, were you always that funny in your classroom? Was your students?
Yeah, I earned my stripes.
Laughing?
I earned my stripes. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I was born like that. I couldn't help it, man. I was the class clown, you know. And everywhere I was, I was the class clown. Played football, class clown on the team. I mean, the clown on the team. It was just me. I tried to help it one time. fine girl in the high school, Kathy Bessis.
Not you remember the first name, last name.
Hey, she was the
Shout out
one.
to Kathy's watching.
Hey man, don't
saying.
give her no extra pub. Don't give her no extra pub. Don't do that.
We'll edit that out later. Go ahead.
Anyway, finest girl. I'm a freshman. Finest girl in the school. High school. She ran track. So okay. You know what it was. And so Kathy,
Was she a long distance runner or a sprinter?
Actually, she ran the open
What are we
quarter.
talking about right now?
She ran the open quarter.
Okay. Okay.
That's all the way around one time for the people who know what that is. Okay. Hey, watch this here. Kathy, I was acting a fool in the cafeteria. Cafeteria is like your platform. Everybody, yes, cafeteria is a fun place.
Yep.
Kathy said, Eddie, you are just so immature. You need to just be more mature. And I'm like, ooh, the finest girl in the school. So I need to be mature. Now, I don't know what mature. I didn't know what mature meant at that time. All I knew is she meant that I need to do something different than what I've been doing. And so I came to school the next day and said, let me try this mature thing, because Kathy said I need to do this. And so all I knew how to do was just be quiet. So I'm quiet on campus. Man, people walking up to me asking me somebody died. What's wrong with you? What's happening? You okay? You sick? Man, it lasted till first lunch. I was back acting a fool again. And that's when I realized I was born like this, man. So
Amen.
I got a bunch of whoopings for this. Growing up, all the fights I got into, the fights I got into was because we're playing too much. But I turned out all right. So I was always the class clown. I ended up, paying dividends as I got older, though.
Can I ask you a real question though? Mm-hmm. So oftentimes with our comedic personalities, right? There's always this call to be funny, right? Yeah. And this call to like be the source of joy for so many folks, right? Mm-hmm. But you might not necessarily be feeling joy yourself. Mm-hmm. So on a personal level, being a funny guy, but someone who is like the expectation for the funny, right? Do you ever feel like, man, sometimes it's not in alignment with where I actually am? How do you cope with that?
I was born like this, man.
Okay.
It's on site with me.
Okay.
But you know what? The most humorous moments come out of pain. Like when I wasn't feeling good, I didn't want to be there. I couldn't stand, turning in stuff, and the people I work with and work for. That's when I would act the craziest. And I go by a teacher's room when I take a bathroom break and play in they door or something. I was, that made me feel better.
Understood.
And so if there's a pull on you to be funny, man, you're probably not that funny. You know what I'm saying? It has to be in you, I think. No. I'm not trying to knock nobody.
Wife alert.
No, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. If it's a pull on you to be funny, the demand is there, and you're just not feeling it, then, it's like it's something that you do every now and then. Yeah. I was born like this, so it just happens, and it just happened to help people, but what they don't understand, man, help me too.
So
I
you
promise.
living in your purpose. You walking in your purpose.
Won't he do it?
Yo, I saw this little clip from Felicia Rashad, and someone asked her like,
She's still fine.
Man. So they were
that
saying,
ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
they got everything to do with it, right?
I am so sorry.
So the question to her was, you represent so much to black women and class and elegance and whatnot. Do you ever feel a weight from that? And she said, it's not heavy to carry light. It's not heavy to carry light.
Yeah.
And so what I've always received from you, you know what I'm saying?
He could drop us out backstage.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
I got you.
No.
She'll be dropping the drop. Okay.
I sense that from you all the time. I've had the privilege of being able to be in community with you for a few years now and be at different conferences and places. And I always got that sense from you of just like being light, you know what I'm saying? And being authentic. And I encourage you, man, because I know success is going to be even bigger for you and bigger for you and bigger for you. It's a maintain being the light you are.
Yeah, and don't let nobody dim that, man. The world could try to dim it. But like I say, what works for you is what works for you. Everybody got their own thing they love to do. Some people like to read. Some people like a quiet place, long walks in the park. I don't know what you do, but as long as you run after that, man, because that's your place of peace. And it just so happens that comedy and being this who I am, I have peace doing it. So I thank God for that gift, though, for real.
So how do you engage saying your purpose? Like, how do we get young folks to align in that? Like, you knew early on that you was just funny, like that was your gift, and God brought it out after some time. How do we get our kids engaged with who they are so that they can too follow that path? What would you say to educators to help them along that process?
Well, first of all, I would say this. I know all educators, man, we got our hands tied behind our back. So it's real hard to tap into a kids, what they love to do, because the districts, they don't want us to do that. They want us to be robotic and bring people in who don't have who never taught before a day in their damn life. You know what I'm saying? But have the nerve to come in, and we have professional developments and conferences. These people just talking at us because they're professional talkers, and we take them PowerPoints and we throw them in the trash because it's really garbage. They just came and got a check and left, and we still got the same problem we had before they got it, right? And so my thing is, you got to find a way to be creative, and you have to sneak and find a way. Because on the district's dime, they in your classroom, you got to do what they ask you to do. You got to follow the objective on the board. They walking around, going to people, you know, they do the observations. They going to the kids who ain't paying attention. They always go to the wrong kids. I ain't paying attention. This boy facing the back of the wall.
What's the learning target for
the objective up there, this boy facing this way, coloring. Nah, he don't know what we doing. Talking about what we doing. He don't know. Damn, sorry.
Where do you get the courage to do that, though? Let me ask you, because I hear from a lot of teachers that are like, yeah, but I'll get in trouble in my school, or I'll get written up, or whatever. And I think that, one of the ways I was taught by my mentors was that, like, God has you, like, you can't start with the have, right? It's who are you? Like, how did you become the person that could do that thing, that could act that way?
You have to find it. I think that goes off into the new teachers. Like new teachers, it's so much pressure on a new teacher, you know, with all the resources and other teachers that have been doing it for a long time. And I always say, man, sneak and be creative, and just like with anything, man, you got to keep showing up, because you don't have it at first, and you got to accept that. You don't know how to deliver exactly what they want. You have an idea, but because at the same time you're teaching and you're trying to find how you teach.
That's right.
And so my thing is just keep going, keep listening to the stuff they tell you to do, adopt what you can and give them what they want when they come in your classroom to see. And the more you keep doing it, you're gonna fall off into your style. I didn't get my style I stopped giving a damn one time. Like, for real. That's when I found my style. Baby girl, close your ears. Hey, no, for real, because they had big budget cuts. They had big budget cuts in Texas. It was like, oh my God, it was crazy. And I was doing comedy at night, you know, talking about the hustle. Yeah, I was doing comedy at night, and I wasn't taking care of my body, and, you know, it was stressed out. They fired librarians. I know they didn't give a damn about me, you know, because I wasn't the best teacher. I was the new guy, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. And so I was so stressed out, man. One day I woke up and one side of my face didn't work. I had developed a condition called Bell's palsy, man. And the chick I was with, now I'm Mr. Funny Man all the time. That's me, everybody. So I showed her, and she laughed at first. Yeah, that's why she ain't last. She gonna laugh, boy. My side of my face don't work. But anyway, long story short, I called. I was like, hey, y'all, I got Bell's, palsy, whatever. The doctor said I have good news, having a stroke. I say, damn, I wasn't even thinking that far. A stroke? I'm a young man, right? Yeah. And he said that the only cure for it really wasn't a cure. You had to let it run its course. And they prescribed me like some initial steroids or whatever, and then I needed, the prescription after that was rest and water. It comes from a condition that comes from, one of the main reasons it comes from stress. I was so stressed out by something that didn't even happen. And so what really made me run into my style, they told me, it started off good when I say they, the leaders at my school. Eddie Brown, Mr. Brown, you just stay. You're no good to the kids if you're not healthy. Right. You stay, you take as long as you need, okay? That lasted till my days was up. Then it was a wrap. Then they made me come back teaching with one side of my face not working, looking like the Joker. And when I saw that they didn't care, I ain't care. But during that, I ran into my style. That I don't care. Then I'm like, I got something.
Yeah, but that right back to your point, right? It comes out of that hurt. Where if you own that, right, and you're just, something beautiful comes out. I say to teachers all the time, your whole life has been cross-training for this moment, right? Like everything you've been before has brought you to this moment where you're gonna teach out of that space. That's incredible.
No, I agree with you, CJ. I think you made a good point, because you had me sitting here reflecting to myself, like, man, when did I feel like I had it in the classroom?
It just happened, though.
It does, but and to your point, Eddie, I think it's a matter of, like, when you get to a place that you know your authentic self is adequate, You know your authentic self deserves to just be, and then you got the courage to be it irregardless.
Yeah.
You know.
So what's one way? So I guess I'm going to go off cuff because I know you speak a lot about like how you didn't really have supportive administration, and that could contribute to like teacher exhaustion, burnout, retention. What we talked about earlier today. What are some things that could have helped? And then CJ, I'm gonna take it over.
Hell, if a comedian like me came along. Like somebody who gonna say something and not be in fear, but you know what? Because we be in those meetings and y'all know what happened to teachers that talk.
Facts.
You cannot talk. You got that muzzle on you. Get to talking if you want to. I tell them, all right, you're gonna be. They gonna start their paper trail on you. They gonna ease you out of there, and you're gonna be working at an alternative school next season. I guarantee you. So it took somebody like me with some humor, and I found out that there was other people doing it.
Yeah.
There's other people out there. They just never reached where I was. So I would say just find your humor in it, man. Confide in the teachers that are around you. Have your teacher click together. Them the ones that you talk about other teachers too. You know what I'm saying? Stuff you don't like. Them ones gonna look out for you. Have that, and a good happy hour.
So
CJ?
to that point, we had some more tech-savvy students dig through some of your old emails, and we want to ask you about about some concerned parents that said, Dear Mr. B, my son told me that you spent 15 minutes today doing stand-up about how much coffee you needed to deal with 8th graders. This might be funny on the internet, but I'm sure it does not belong in the classroom. Are you actually teaching, or are you workshopping material for your next viral tweet? What do you say to those folks?
Clap back, clap back.
Your son lied. I don't even drink coffee. That's what you shouldn't believe everything your kids say. I'd love to see you at a parent-teacher conference. I don't even know who you are. I'm glad you reached out to me finally. Thank you. Who are you? I was gonna say that.
All right. So Amanda, who signs it, a very involved mom, said, I just checked my grade portal and saw that you gave my daughter a 0. Did you even ask her why it was late? She was tired, okay? Teenagers have a lot on their plates. This seems incredibly unfair. Do better. Signed, Amanda.
I would have forwarded that to admin, because they deal with that. I ain't got time to be going back and forth with somebody who don't got no clue. We can't even give zeros no more. She lying on me. You better give her 50.
It was a 50.
70. No, you can't get 50s no more. You better get 70. It's nothing wrong with giving a 70, man. I tell them all the time, 70 stands for, it's a D, but it stands for done and diploma. Okay? 70. You got to get them out of there. God bless us with 70s, man. Give them to them kids and don't be ashamed. Give them to them.
All right, I got one more. This is for me. This is from HR, one of my favorite departments in the whole school. Mr. Reynolds, a reminder that hoodies and hats are not considered professional attire under our dress code. Students take their cues from you, and we need to model standards at all times. Please adjust accordingly.
There's a parent.
This is HR sending an email to me.
Probably from a parent.
Probably.
They scared of parents.
And
Yeah, forward that to me. I tell them, this Eddie B. And I go to hell. Leave this man alone, okay? Leave this man alone. Hey, they need to have more teachers dressing up and be comfortable, okay? Be comfortable. The better you feel, the better you'll teach. That's why I love what I do. Happy teacher, happy classroom. You know what I'm saying? They ask me, do I miss teaching? I'm like, I'm more connected with teaching than I've ever been right now, because there's so many educators that I'm able to affect through humor. They drive this stuff for kids all the time, social emotional learning, like that's gonna drive education. No, it's the social and emotional well-being of the educators who teach them who gonna get that to them. So that's how school's gonna change.
Amen,
Okay.
amen.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, along that line, as we close out, like what's one thing that, barring like no funding, anything, no restrictions, no limitations, what's one thing that if you could change in education to make it better, what would that be?
The pay. The pay. Let me tell you something, man. It's all
The
about
running
the
theme
money.
today.
It's all about the money.
Hit it.
Hey, it's all about the. Hey, look, man. The stuff that we put up with, you know, we'll put up with it a little bit. We already putting up with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Might well pay us a little bit more and watch how we smile. Fake. I'll fake a smile for a couple $1,000 more. I can fake a smile. Yeah, but it's rough to. I call it. You know, they say more money, more problems. Not for a teacher. It's no money, more problems. No money, more problems. And that's how it is. The pay and more support, I would say. More support from just an understanding. Support is more of an understanding than just support. It's understanding that we human, understanding we go through what you go through. Just because you got another position don't mean that you ain't in the same position. You know? We straight. We all in this together, you know? So that's my thing. A little bit more support, a lot more money.
Come on. Come on. All right, so Eddie, one more thing before we roll out. We have a little short game that we like to play called Quick Engagement. All right. Now, here we are going to give you a sentence starter. You're just going to shoot to us. First thing that comes to mind based upon what you get. You ready?
First thing, first word, first sentence.
Yes.
First sentence, first whatever it is that you want to get.
Okay.
Finish
good.
the statement.
Hey, I'll tell you right now.
Too crazy.
Good luck. I'm gonna try.
Well, here we go. No teacher should make less than
$85,000 a year with benefits and free coupons at HEB.
Okay. Where?
You know you're from a suburban part. I only know because I live in New Mexico
I was
now.
lost.
I know HEB is now.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. We'll let y'all have that insider. You didn't understand grease in the braids.
I certainly didn't, but now I know.
You know now. Yeah, you know now.
Something today's students are missing out on.
Respect. And whoopings. I don't know what else to tell you, man.
Things that should be an email.
Everything that teacher say when the principal say we can leave the meeting early and she raised her hand up anyway, she could have sent that damn email, man. You just made the meeting 30 minutes longer because you ain't got no home life. She got 77
that's
cats. That's the cat lady. She got 45 cats at home.
Yes, facts.
Unregistered, and they don't got papers on them or nothing. And she have all that dander on her work clothes at work. Got everybody allergies. The cat lady. Different furs too, brown, white cats, dark cats, black cats, and she had a nerve to make something for the potluck. Nobody gonna eat your
That
casserole.
sounds deeply personal.
Nobody gonna eat your casserole.
This is like rapid-ish fire questions with Eddie B right now.
Sorry, man. I told you, good luck. I told you. My mind worked different.
Not so much on the rapid, heavy on the fire, right? All right. What is summer school? Extra money or hell no?
Whoo, hell no, man. Because after all, when you're first teacher, you hustling in the beginning. But when you're a veteran, you're like, nah, my piece is more than this little $30 they gonna give me. Yeah, my piece is more than this little $30, man. You be burnt out when school start back, man. You only have like a half of, 3 weeks to rest.
Right. You might get one.
Come back crazier.
Yup.
Facts.
What is your teacher theme song?
Dang. Okay. What's up? Shut up.
Y'all give it up for Eddie B.
Would you rather have students who only speak in memes or students who only communicate through interpretive dance?
Damn. That's a good one. Who wrote that question, man?
I'm not going to say.
You know what? Hell, let them dance. Let them dance. You got to get them up and moving anyway. I would love to see them just dance their words. We have to do it. I really had to do that. I had a bilingual class, and I'm not bilingual at all. I had Spanish-speaking kids. And I had to act out of everything. I said, I said, I'm trying to get my point across. Cause y'all tripping, they laughing. I'm like, all right. Yeah, I would love them to give it back to them. Yeah, you dance now.
I think if you saw me dance, you might change your answer. But okay.
You that bad?
So, would you rather lose all your lesson plans for a year or lose all your personal days for a year?
Lesson plans? Bye. I ain't losing now. Matter of fact, I take more personal days than I got. I'm gonna take a little bit more. I'm gonna go over mine. Lesson plans, boy, bye. I ain't had no damn lesson plans at the beginning of the year anyway. Teachers pay teachers. I've used somebody else's lesson plan. Well, you been teaching for a long time. You recycle lesson plans,
Facts.
man. Yeah, I don't even need no lesson plan. I just got something on the board.
Hey.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is doing them. Thank you.
Right? I just have objectives on the board for the ops. In case they come in and want to see something. I want to teach what I want to teach, how I want to teach it.
Yeah. And if that works, look.
Jesus, real. I got you.
Last one. Would you rather be required to chaperone every school dance or attend every school sporting event as the mascot?
I would. What the first one? The dance.
Chaperone every dance.
Yeah, I'll do it, and I'll be the one to let them just dance. Now they only want to. Remember, we used to be in dances. We used to be all up on each other like we making a video.
Well,
okay.
Again,
now they can't.
You haven't
now
seen me dance, so I don't know if that is.
You keep throwing that out there, but I guarantee you put some vodka in your dance, and I bet you can get
In
out.
your dance.
You put some vodka in your dance.
It's possible.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, but I chaperone the dance, man, just to take footage and put it up on how not to move. You know what I'm saying? Them kids is crazy. They can't dance. That's why they can't dance no more, for sure. But I love to see it though. I let them have at it too.
I love it.
Me too.
I have nothing to say.
What? Shivy don't got something to say?
She ain't got nothing to say?
Yeah.
She be hitting you with it. She be hitting you with them. As the teacher's moon goes, the mountains overflow with objectives. Like, what he say? Everybody like, I guess that's some knowledge he just hit.
Knowlej Movement. This October, the movement comes to life. For the first time ever, experience the rules to engagement, host live and in person. Re-engage, restore, reward. 3 days of power, purpose, and people-first education. This is the moment. Don't miss it. Join us at KnowlejCon LA.
All right, we made Eddie think a little too hard on those teacher dilemmas. So now, let's make a move.
Hey.
It's time for Rules to Movement. Alexia, what's today's dance?
All right, y'all. So we gonna throw it back. We gonna hit some old school moves. You think
Heard
you
it.
got you think you got what it takes?
A little something. I'll try.
That's all I can take. All right. I gotta find the beat. 5, 6, 5, 6, rock it out. Hey, hey, hey. 2, ha, 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 ha. Oh,
Thank you guys so much for being here with us. Thank you to our guest, Eddie B, for being here. Thank you for all of our audience. This is the Rules to Engagement. Let's go.